There are a lot of issues voters are considering when they're casting their ballots, from the economy to foreign relations and life issues, including abortion and even transgender ideology. As we mentioned earlier, New York's Proposition 1, which seeks to enshrine abortion into the state constitution, is also adding in language focused on gender identity and gender expression under the so-called Equal Rights Amendment measure. Pope Francis has been outspoken about gender ideology.
Hanno dato adito a colonizzazioni ideologiche.
Instances of ideological colonization in which gender theory plays a central role. The latter is extremely dangerous since it cancels differences in its claim to make everyone equal.
Rendere tutti uguali.
The Holy Father has called gender ideology the ugliest danger of our time for attempting to erase the differences between the sexes. And Christina Bennet, correspondent for Live Action, joins us now to weigh in on this growing debate. Great to be with you, Christina.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is a pleasure. I want to start off now by talking about Title IX. How are you seeing parents, fight back against the changes that it would place, having biological boys in girls' bathrooms? What are parents doing?
Well, I am seeing moms rise up across the nation with mama bear spirits. From Moms for Liberty, a group called Don't Mess With Our Kids movement. These moms are gathering at state capitals. They are rallying. They are talking to their friends and their neighbors. They're talking to their elected officials. They're talking to schools, and they're letting them know that this is indoctrination and it's hurting their sons and daughters. And I'm very proud of what I'm seeing with moms across the nation.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this. Democratic Vice Presidential candidate Tim Walz, he really has some of the most aggressive policies pushing gender transitions for children. In fact, he himself has called his state a trans refuge state. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
First thing we did is we banned conversion therapy in Minnesota. We protected transgender community and said, in Minnesota, you are seen, heard, loved, and respected, and safe in Minnesota.
In the meantime, his running mate, Vice President Harris, in her home state of California, it's also considered a trans refuge state. Do you think if there is a Harris-Walz administration, do you think that they would maybe make this a federal regulation?
Well, I think they definitely could, because we've had members of Congress who for years have been trying to pass federal regulations on this issue. And if they were in office, I'm sure if it came to their desk that they would sign legislation like that into federal law. And so that is something that we need to be concerned about. I think it's unfair that when we talk about kids, when we talk about this issue, that one side thinks that they are the ones that are showing love and protection and wanting children to be safe, when really we want the same things. And that's why we're speaking out against these dangerous views, because we know they are hurting children. They are causing young women to have surgeries and make life-altering changes that are going to affect them and possibly prevent them from having children one day and affect their legacy. And so we are very concerned about protecting children, and that's why we have to be vocal on these issues.
Yeah, Christina, we have maybe a minute left, but I want to talk about this. Vice President Kamala Harris, she was with the so-called Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence back in 2019. It's really the first time the transgender issue, that is, has really been front and center in the race here in the presidential election. I want to talk more about that. Why do you think that is, and how is this affecting other communities?
I think it's affecting us all, because children are growing up now in a world and in school systems where they're confused about who they are. They're confused about their gender identity. And those are things that I myself, growing up in school, never questioned, never had teachers talk to me about those things. And so our whole society is wrestling with these issues, and it's hurting us. And it's sad to see elected officials who are supporting these types of indoctrination and hurting children.
Yeah, absolutely. Christina, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it, and we're going to have you back for some post-election analysis.
You're welcome.
So thank you
you
so much.